But they're
I
still getting old,
rubbed it
it's
like
been You see a lot of people down there sitting, you drive by and they got their,
I'm amazed they've left that on.
pretty good little signal down there too.
I'm sure a lot of mothers and grandmas at the pool used that pretty quite a bit.
I did watch the YouTube and that camera did an awesome job.
Yeah, that's much clearer than that old one. Gotta groom up a little.
Makeup.
I did notice a little glare. Have to get some of the Ron Torpedo spray on there.
We can stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming and those that are watching on TV. I'd like to start out by taking a moment to thank all of the city employees for working around the clock service it has provided with keeping the streets clean to the best of their ability. And to the water department for the quick repairs on water leak issues. You know, when it comes to the streets, it's not just the street department, it's an all hands effort. And I just want to say thank you to them and a job well done. As everyone is aware, with the extended cold temperatures that we have been experiencing, that the city had some major issues that could have been way worse than they were. We were advised that our cost of natural gas could go up by 600%. Talking with Alderman Ferber, he kind of took charge and contacted state representatives and governor's office and was in constant communication with them throughout the situation. Alderwoman Linger also contacted the offices and was in contact. The governor got involved, the attorney general's offices were involved. We, the city, put out a plea for everyone that could to lower their thermostats to below 70 degrees. With less consumption, this would help the situation, which ultimately it had a huge impact. And a big thank you to the citizens and the businesses, the schools, that all lowered their thermostats. We were advised that everyone could turn their heat back up late last week. We do know that our cost of gas escalated a lot. At this time, we do not know how much this will cost the city. We will look at that problem when the time comes and deal with it. Just a big thank you to everyone again for the help and understanding and the patience with this situation. And then just a reminder that, you know, April we have an election, and there's going to be a vote on that election to give the city permission to turn the big electric lines that run First Street and over Kalmeyer Bluff. We want to turn that over to Central Electric. It's basically their service anyway. The city does not have the equipment or the trained manpower to provide the service on those lines if something major would go down, as it did a few years ago, and it costs big money, like $80,000. But the city needs the citizens to vote on this before we can turn these lines over. So there'll be more information that will be provided to try and explain this a little more in depth so people understand what we're doing. It's not going to cost the city anything, it's just trying to get rid of a problem that may develop down the way. So just wanted to have everybody be aware of that. And that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, could I add to that for just 1 second, please?
Yes.
Last week, during all this mess, I probably talked to more elected officials above city level than I have in my entire life. All of them were extremely helpful, from Wayne Luchtemeyer's office to the governor's office to the attorney general's office and all the way on down. But I'd like to give a shout out to one individual. Aaron Grisheimer, our state rep. Monday was a state holiday. State offices were closed. And in the middle of probably the worst weather incident we've had in 2 decades, that man drove from his home in Washington, Missouri to Jefferson City and went to his office. And he worked for us. I don't know when the man slept. I was getting the messages from him all day and all night. He's a very good public servant, and I know he was probably working for others, not just the city of Hermann, but anyone who would go through that much trouble that hard deserves a pat on the back, and that's what I'm doing here. He worked very hard for all our citizens.
Okay. City Administrator report, please.
I too would like to thank all the employees of the city of Hermann that worked through the recent polar vortex. The extreme cold is hard on people and equipment, and let's hope the worst is behind us. As the mayor mentioned, the entire country was hit with high energy prices during the extreme cold. The damage at this time is not known, but we expect to get some numbers from our gas marketer within the next few days. Water and street personnel will be working along Market Street for the next several weeks, installing a new water line on both sides of Market from 3rd Street to the alley between 5th and 6th. Please be cautious when driving into that area. And I would like to congratulate all the city staff for their hard work and dedication on our recent insurance audit. Once again, because of their diligence and attention to detail, the city scored a perfect 100%. This high score saves the city thousands of dollars on our insurance premium.
Very good. Thank you. Was there any public comment? No public comments. We'll move on to ordinances. Dave, would you begin?
The first is bill number 2021-07 for first reading, and ordinance to amend ordinance number 2192 regarding the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021. And so you have the ordinance form here with the various amendments attached.
Anybody have any questions? If not, we have a motion to pay.
I move Bill 2021-07 first read.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We need to read that a second time.
Bill number 2021-07 for second reading, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2192 regarding the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I move Bill 2021-07 second read.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Move on to resolution.
The resolution number 1296 would be a resolution to describe facts and reasons for a necessary amendment to the city's budget for fiscal year 2020-2021. There's something in the statute about when cities do a budget amendment, they're supposed to do a resolution describing the facts and reasons why the amendment is necessary. We usually do a pretty thorough budget ordinance itself, but we just honor the statute and go ahead and do a resolution anyway to say we did. That's what this is for.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We'll move on to old business. Want to have any old business? If not, new business? Anybody have anything under new business?
I don't know if the letter that went out concerning the signage should be under old business or new business, but I just wanted to make mention of the letter that had gone out concerning the sandwich signs and the signage. Mr. Sinton he's provided a brief and I think adequate explanation of what transpired, but I would hope that by our next meeting, that a permanent remedy could be forthcoming, because it really did stir up a hornet's nest. And I don't think I have been contacted by more people concerning an issue than this issue here. So I'd like to make sure that this is on the agenda of the the next meeting so we could talk about some kind of remedy. I think Mr. Sitton had several suggestions, but I think we also need to address a protocol that includes alerting all the aldermen and the mayor whenever a letter like this is going out, so we're aware of possible confusion and things that people might say. If nothing else, the city manager needs to know and approve that a letter like that is going out, because it did cause a lot of confusion.
Yeah, that part's been taken care
And
of.
confusion still exists. It still hasn't been, I think, satisfactorily taken care of.
Well, a simple little heads up would be nice if I'm asked about something that I have some idea what they're asking me about. So,
Well, I think, I understand the need for a sign ordinance. I understand the need for having even a permit to make sure that the sign is the right size, the sign is the right material, the sign even has the right message. I'm not sure a fee, added to a fee that they're already having to pay is right. But I just think a heads up, and that needs to be well thought out, and determination needs to be made as to how to handle that.
well, our sign ordinance does cover sandwich signs. I don't remember that you needed a permit for one.
Well, the new ordinance says there's a permit, or there's a need for a permit. But just because there's a need for a permit, does that mean there has to be a fee associated with it? You know, I think if we're gonna have an ordinance, it needs to be something that's gonna enhance businesses, not interfere with it.
I agree.
I agree with that. We can do that.
I think there's something that I can clarify. I called Dave earlier today, because I've gotten several phone calls about the fee. And so we looked in the code, and we do have a sign ordinance, and there is a corresponding $45 fee for the permanent signs.
Yes.
Not sandwich boards. So I think some people are alarmed that the sandwich boards are gonna be $45, and I was momentarily confused myself, but I think we came to a solid conclusion that sandwich boards do not have an associated fee.
But do they need a permit?
According to
Currently,
our
yes.
code, yes.
According to the code, we do, okay. That's in that new sign ordinance?
Now granted, not many people know that, so not many people come in to get a permit for them. And so this has just been addressed through some of you to the ordinance enforcement officer, which is what initiated this letter that he sent. So
We need
that's
to
something.
fix that then.
So, for clarification, if something requires a permit, does that mean 100% of the time there has to be a fee associated with that permit?
No.
Okay.
I think one other thing that was included in this discussion about the sandwich menu boards is the fact of the ADA passage.
And that's something that cannot be,
And that's, I think,
there's no wiggle room there. I mean, you've got to leave room for people to get by.
is the meat of what's happened here is there's been blockage. And I don't know if we ever got Archer's final
No, we have not.
notification there, but, and I know Bob had mentioned in there, there is, I could never find an ordinance that mentioned 4 foot. And I spent all afternoon looking, and I wrote down ordinance numbers, and everything I can find refers to a 5 foot, specifically ADA passage. So that's, I think that was some of the meat of the decision on this, because I have seen handicapped people have to get off the sidewalk into the street
That's unacceptable.
because they could not get down the sidewalk. So anyhow, that's my 2 cents worth on it. Thanks for bringing that up.
Is this something that we really need to discuss at the next meeting, or should we work on this internally and try and reword it and present it at the next meeting? What?
I think we need Bob sitting involved in a conversation
Absolutely.
before we can bring in some solutions to you.
Okay.
I guess before we go to talk about solutions, what's the problem? I mean, we're gonna discuss
I guess.
whether we should require permits for these at all, or?
Of course, I think that's what I'm perceiving,
Okay.
is if You all are wondering if we need to go so far as to require everybody with the sandwich board to come in and get a permit, even though they're free, is that the question?
I think that was a concern, I think is a terminology that we should use, but.
So a permit then would only be just to decide that the person's sandwich board meets the size and material requirement. That would be it. So I guess you guys will have to decide if you want to require everybody who has the same, and remember, every business is allowed one. And so I guess you would need to decide if that's something that you want people to come in and have to turn in, fill out a piece of paper and turn it in and ask people to list of sandwich boards, or if that's a hoop.
Well, I can see the permit, so people know the size requirement, because a lot of people have probably never read our sign ordinance, but I'm not nailed in on that.
The ones you buy, I think, are pretty standard.
They
It's
are.
why we're like the home make one, that's what's really not allowed, is the homemade ones that are rough looking and odd sizes.
Painted, just painted signs.
I think if they have a valid business license, that one sign should be along with that business license fee and.
Well, they should only be in the commercial district to begin with,
Sure.
And I wonder if just taking out, we could leave the requirements in the sign ordinance about the sandwich board size and materials. Could we just take out the two words that literally say, it says one sandwich board sign is allowed per business with a permit as long as 1, 2, 3. What would happen if we just took out the with a permit? Would that be an easy solution?
it would work for me.
Yeah, I think that's where the confusion was.
Yes.
Well, there's another deal that people put these sandwich signs out every day and they tend to move them, or somebody walks by and moves them, and they end up blocking too much of the sidewalk.
And
That's
that's a
probably
legitimate-
what
Yeah. that's
got this all
legitimate.
going.
That's a
that
legitimate problem.
You gotta leave that sidewalk open for people to pass, and depending whether it's 4 foot or 5 foot, when we get that final decision, doesn't matter. That's the area that has to be left open. And like I said, there's no wiggle room on that, that's federal law. So, once we decide that, then we can put out a thing to all businesses with the proper information. But yeah, to get rid of the permit for that, that doesn't seem like something should require a permit. So get that for next meeting, I guess. Talk to Bob and make sure we're all on the same page.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Any other new business? Gentlemen, ladies? Okay, we'll move on to motions. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second?
Motion been made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Invoices for payment.
Move we pay the bill.
Have a motion to pay the bills, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pay the bill. Okay, item C, we're gonna hire Nikita Carver as a dispatcher. Be a full-time dispatcher. Any questions?
Move to approve on the chief's recommendation.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve Little League bids for welding photographs and first place printing for the t-shirts.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made to approve, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Been approved. Okay, item E, appoint Kevin D. Speckhouse to the Tourism Commission.
I move to approve Kevin.
Have a motion to approve, do I have a second?
Well, if for no other reason, he's got the best handwriting I've ever seen on an application in here, I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any negative? Ayes have it. Reports. We have none. Okay, we go into closed session.
I move we close, open and go into closed section for the purpose of dealing with matters related to hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting employees pursuant to state statutes.
Motion's been made. Have a second?
I'll second.
Second, we had a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 So moved. We are now in closed session. Thank you folks for coming. Y'all have a good evening.